There's a government bond that lets an ordinary family park $25,000 a year into a completely guaranteed inflation-protected account, earning nearly 10% at its peak, and your bank will never tell you it exists. That sentence sounds wrong. It sounds like something you'd see in a scam ad, but this isn't a scam. This is a U.S. Treasury product. It has been sitting in plain sight for decades. The IRS knows about it. The SEC knows about it. And if you walked into your bank today and asked about it, your advisor would probably change the subject. The average American right now has their emergency fund sitting in a savings account paying maybe 0.5%. Maybe. Meanwhile, inflation is quietly carving chunks out of that money every single year. You're not saving. You're slowly losing ground, and nobody is pointing that out. The people who figured this out years ago, the ones who knew exactly where to look, they've been doing something very different. Here's where it gets interesting. The strategy is called an I bond, Series I savings bond, issued directly by the U.S. Treasury. No middleman, no brokerage, no advisor taking a cut. The I stands for inflation, because the interest rate on this bond is directly tied to the Consumer Price Index, the government's own official measure of how fast prices are rising. When prices go up, your rate goes up with them. When inflation peaked in 2022, I bonds were paying 9.62%. Guaranteed, federal government-backed. That's not a typo. Here's exactly how it works. You go to Treasury Direct Gov, you open an account, you buy up to $10,000 worth of I bonds per year. Each dollar you put in earns a rate that resets every 6 months, always moving with inflation. Your principal can never go down. If inflation craters, there's a fixed rate floor. You cannot lose money. The federal government is literally your counterparty. And here's the tax piece that nobody explains. The interest accrues tax deferred. You don't owe a dime to the IRS until you cash out. No state tax, no local tax, ever. And if you use the proceeds to pay for qualifying education expenses, the federal interest may be completely tax-free as well. Now, here's what the banks definitely don't want you to know. There's a gift loophole. You can purchase I bonds as a gift for your spouse, for your children, for anyone, and those gifts sit in a separate bucket from your personal $10,000 limit. A married couple can effectively deploy $20,000 a year minimum. But if you own a sole proprietorship, an LLC, a trust, or any business entity, that entity gets its own $10,000 annual limit. Stack that with your personal limit, your spouse's limit, a living trust, and a $5,000 overpayment on your federal tax return, which converts directly into I bonds, and a single household can park $45,000 or more into this instrument in 1 calendar year. Guaranteed, inflation-proof, tax-deferred. Ask yourself, why didn't your advisor ever mention this? Because your advisor doesn't earn a commission on a treasury bond you buy directly from the government. Your bank doesn't make a spread on it. There's no product here. There's no pitch. The financial industry has zero incentive to point you towards something they can't monetize. So they stay quiet. They point you toward mutual funds, annuities, savings accounts with names like high yield that pay 4% while burying fees in a prospectus you'll never read. The wealthier families who found this, accountants, estate attorneys, people who know which questions to ask, they've been quietly stacking I bond limits for years, using trusts, using entities, using the gift strategy, compounding tax-deferred returns while everyone else is slowly losing ground in an account that sounds safe but isn't. Now, the caveats, and there are a few. I bonds have a 1-year minimum hold. You cannot touch the money for 12 months after purchase. If you cash out before 5 years, you forfeit 3 months of interest as a penalty, and the education tax exclusion phases out above certain income levels, so high earners may not qualify for the full benefit. None of that changes the core math. It just means you plan it correctly. The IRS didn't create a loophole here. This is exactly how the program is designed to work. The Treasury wants people to buy these bonds. In this one rare case, the government's interest and your interest are completely aligned, and that almost never happens. So I bonds solve the inflation problem. They solve the tax deferral problem. They solve the principal loss problem. For the right slice of your savings, this may be the cleanest instrument in your entire financial picture. But here's the question I want you sitting with. If a guaranteed, inflation-adjusted, tax-advantaged account backed by the full faith and credit of the United States government has existed for decades, and nobody in your financial life ever once mentioned it, what else are they not telling you? That's the next file.